Selena didn't run into an empty motel lobby. Multiple days in, employees testified that they were present when she arrived. What those employees testified they heard Selena say and what they saw Selena do just might give us insight into Selena's final moments of consciousness. I'm Safisha Thembeka, a real attorney. I've reviewed the official record, and here's what it reveals. Ruben De Leon, a sales manager at the Days Inn, testified, "I was in my office when all this happened. I was getting up from my desk." He testified that you have to go through 2 doors to get into the lobby, and that as you come into the lobby, his office was on the left-hand side. He testified, "I was fixing to get up to fax my papers." He testified, "As I was getting up from my desk, I hadn't even gone out the door, and through my window, I can see the window, this is all glass. I saw a lady running and paid little attention. And when I saw her, she ran into this door right here. I looked up and I stopped and I saw." And when asked, "What do you mean she ran into the door?" Ruben testified, "She was running, and I think she felt like she was going to push the door, and that door you have to pull it. So when she ran into the door, I saw blood splatter, and that caught my attention. And then she pulled it open and came in here and pulled this one open. And all this time I'm walking, looking at this, and then we meet." Ruben testified that Selena was soaked with blood. He testified, "She came right at me, and I just panicked. I was calling her ma'am." He testified, "I panicked, and I let my paper go, and then this is where we met, and she just ran. I'm sorry. She ran and laid herself down right here, and I went to her, and I started screaming, 'Ma'am, who shot you? Who shot you?'" Ruben testified, "She told me, Yolanda Saldivar in 158. That's when I went down to her." He testified, "I went and squatted like this, Squatted, I went down. She looked up at me and she told me. And then, all of a sudden, her eyes just rolled back, and that's it. She collapsed, and I started screaming for help." Ruben testified that he was within a couple of feet of Selena. And when asked, "Did you see her do anything else?" Ruben testified, "After that, when she was laying down, she told me that, and she collapsed and never responded. And then her fingers started to move. These 3 fingers just started to move like that, just for a few seconds, and they stopped. And that was it." Ruben testified, "I was just trying to ask her things, and everyone was trying to ask her things, and she never responded." Another witness, Rosalinda Gonzalez, an assistant manager at the Days Inn, testified, "I was standing behind the front desk, relieving the front desk clerk for lunch." She testified, "I saw someone. I heard a noise, and it caught my attention to the front door. There's 2 doors that go into the lobby. It was the first door. I saw a girl with green sweatpants on. She was covered with blood. She ran into the second door, and she was yelling, 'Help me, help me, I've been shot.'" Rosalinda testified that Selena had her hands up on her chest. She testified, "She ran into the second door and fell right over here by the door that goes into the meeting rooms." She testified that Selena slowly laid herself down. Rosalinda testified, "I saw that there was blood, a puddle of blood forming. So I got a towel from the cabinet where we have the guest extra towels, put it in her back, and asked her who shot her. She said, 'The lady in 158. And I just heard a moan after that, and her eyes just kind of rolled back. And that's all." Now, a third witness, Shauna Vela, who worked the front desk, testified, "I was doing my routine checking out guests." Shauna testified that Selena came behind the man that she was checking out, and that the man moved out of the way. She said that Selena was sideways to her. Selena's arms were crossed, kind of on her chest, and that Selena was screaming, help me, please call the police." Shauna testified, "I said, 'Help you what?' Because at that time I didn't know. And she said, 'I've been shot.' And I said, 'You've been shot?' And when asked what Selena did when Shauna asked her that, Shauna testified, "She just started crying because she had already told me to call the police. But I didn't know what I was calling the police for because it was during spring break and there was a lot of kids and we were pretty full." Shauna testified that Selena was sideways to her. And when she asked Selena if she had been shot, Selena said yes. And she turned and put her arms down, and you could see lots and lots of blood on her chest area. Shauna testified that she called the police. When asked, "Now after that happened, you said she ran somewhere and laid down. Where was that?" Shauna testified, that's where she ended up is right there. Shauna said that they had a very long phone cord and that she knelt down right beside Selena so she could hear her. She testified that she asked Selena, "Who shot you?" And she said, "Yolanda." And I said, "Yolanda?" And she said, "Yes." And she said, 158, 158. Shauna Baylor also testified that Selena said, "Lock the door." When asked, did she say why? Shauna testified, "Because she'll shoot me again." When asked, she said that as soon as she came in, Shauna testified, "Yes, sir," when she was right here. My manager immediately locked the door. When asked, "Now you gave a statement to the police about this incident, didn't you?" Shauna testified, "Yes, sir." And when asked, "Is there anything in there about that last statement you made? Lock the door. She's going to shoot me again." Shauna testified, "No, sir." A fourth witness, Barbara Schultz, the general manager of the Days Inn, also testified. She testified, "The first thing I saw was her enter the door. And as she came past myself and Ruben, she said, 'Help me, I've been shot.'" When asked, did she ever say anything about call the police or lock the door? Barbara testified, "No, sir." Barbara testified that she called the police. And during trial, the 911 call was played. It began like this: 911, what's your location? Days Inn Motel. It's 901 Navigation Boulevard. What's wrong, ma'am? We have a woman laying in the lobby. Said she's been shot. She's laying on the floor and there's blood. Okay, how old is she? She looks about 20. Okay, she's in the lobby right now? Yes, ma'am. She just passed out.